Wars fans and Rule the Galaxy fans, welcome to chapter 304. Yes, D-Doc, I always know the number. 304 of Rule the Galaxy. Tonight we might actually be doing Top Gun the Galaxy. I don't know, but D-Doc's wearing the cool aviator shades. I don't know what they are, but he shocked me coming out of the intro there. If you are checking us out on YouTube, thanks for being here live. We are on YouTube, Rule the Galaxy. We are also on all podcast platforms of choice. Just go check out Rule the Galaxy. Look for a whole thing with four guys hanging out talking about Star Wars. But it's chapter 304, and I'm going to start with the man, the myth, the legend with the specs on. D-Doc, how are you, and what's going on with this new look?
I'm doing pretty
Do
good.
you guys not read the chat at all?
I'm doing pretty good here. These are the Anakin Skywalker inspired Diff sunglasses that I got for Christmas. So I figured I'd throw them on and show them to you. I know you weren't happy with Diff, Joe.
Yeah, my C-3PO, I think it was C-3PO. Yeah. I didn't, mine fell apart. Like, I got two different pairs from him, both of them fell apart. And yes,
Really?
Alfie, I do remember the discussion. It's just been a while, and my brain's been filled with other topics. But those, you're giving me a podcast or a pod racer look, and then also a Dwayne. Oh, what was it from a different world?
Dwayne Wayne.
Dwayne Wayne. Thank you. Thank you.
They have this bar across the top of it. Like, it's pretty cool to look at like some of the stuff they did as far as like them being inspired off of Anakin's goggles in episode 1. It's been kind of an episode 1. It's kind of been an episode 1 year for me, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It's like at ICCC, it's like I was getting pod racers and stuff. I got the pod racer Lego set. It's like I think I've been subconsciously targeting episode 1 this year. So it's been a good year.
Nice.
Happy to be on another episode of Rule the Galaxy podcast where we're going to be talking about a damn good episode of Skeleton Crew tonight.
We are. Well, I'm glad that we're bringing up your new item there. Those are awesome. I'm sure we'll go around the room and get other updates of purchases or finds. I think Alfie said he had a find that he's going to bring up tonight. But we'll start with Brent. Brent, how are you, sir? And love the photos you were showing us before we hopped on air here tonight. By the way, on air, right? Yeah, right here, on air.
Yeah. I am about 1 foot out of the grave. I was 2 feet in the grave for the last 3 days. I had so much snot that I couldn't breathe. So I had to take 2 extra days off of the immense amount of snow that we had.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I can sit here and have a communication with you means that I am probably going to have to go back to school tomorrow. So I'm going to shed a tear, I know. But yeah, I feel a million times better from where I was 2 days ago. Other than that, pretty. I held I have another miniature game that I like to play called Arena Rex. I think I told you guys about it.
Yep.
We had about 4 or 5 people get together. We kind of like created our own homebrew final game, which was like a battle royale, but there was a bear in a cage, and if you got too close to the cage, the bear would take a swipe at you through the cage. But it was really fun. Had about 5 or 6 people hang out and play and laugh, and it was a good time playing some gladiator stuff. Other than that, yeah, that's about all I got.
Well, that is great to hear. I'm glad you're enjoying the game there, and I'm sorry because this wonderful new streaming service that we're on. One, I can't see myself in it, but two, I can't mute myself, so I had to cough real quick. So I apologize, Brent. I'm glad you're feeling healthier. Sorry you have to go back to school, but we all got to face these things, right? So.
Yeah.
I just appreciate you making the effort for us, the Rule of the Galaxy crew, to be here with us. And with that, we'll hop over to Cousin Alfie. How you doing, Alf?
Hey, we're doing good. Doing real good. Yesterday was Azalea's birthday, so she's now 6 years old. Gosh, what was she, like 2 when we started this?
We started.
She's just a little baby on here all the time.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
would have been like 1.5. Yeah.
Yeah. No
Holy.
comments from her tonight because she has school, so she's already asleep.
Oh.
Yeah.
So no comments in the chat or anything like
No.
that. So Andrew Haley just hopped on. Have we had Andrew on before on making comments? Andrew just hopped in and said hey to us. I don't. Does anybody
Doesn't
know
sound
Andrew?
familiar.
No, I know
I'm
we got.
sorry if you have.
Yeah, I know we got Hyperspace Heroes as you posted. They were the first ones in the chat. Thank you. I know they're facing new challenges with new streaming for their podcast and their YouTube channel. So hopefully that went well. Andrew, thank you for stopping in. Guys,
Well,
did you,
before we get going, I'll show off
yeah,
my
go.
purchases. So yesterday was her birthday, and she got the Neil T-shirt. I don't know if you can see
Where
that
did you
really.
get? Did you order it special or
Yeah, I
what?
found it on Amazon, and then the Neo Funko Pop.
Damn, let's go.
Yeah, I tried to
Wow.
get her a Black Series, but they are way back ordered. If you can
Wow.
get one on Amazon for about some days it's 35, some days it's 55 or more,
Mm,
and it's still like I think I looked today and it'd be here in February, late February.
okay. Hey, well, Andrew, thank you again. As you're telling us, Andrew follows us online, and then he watches our recorded shows. But hey, thank you for being with us live on this
Yeah,
one.
thank you very much.
You're in for an adventure. Maybe we'll talk about some of the topics we talked about last week when I wasn't on the show, and I
It
thought,
was it was a hell of a pre-show tonight. So
I mean, Joe, you were basically on the show throwing in some like one-liners out of nowhere.
yeah, yeah. Look, if I couldn't be there, I at least wanted to be there in spirit. And I was in a hotel room. I was doing work, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do work, but I've got my laptop open. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
chuck some stuff in there into the discussion.
Mhm.
It's like 8 ball corner pocket. So that's I mean,
I mean, Pocket was involved, that's for sure. Pocket was
exactly,
involved.
exactly.
Like her to be involved more.
Yes, yeah.
I don't think she will be though.
That's a shame. There are certain characters that I'd say go ahead and make those spin-off shows and just make them weekly adventures. Pocket would be one I would be fine with. So, but Alf, I'm glad you got all that stuff. It is weird to think about. I remember we were reconnecting and starting the show, and little Azalea would come over, and she would be so embarrassed and would not say a word.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think now we've all kind of become like uncles to her, right?
Yeah, she.
Some of us virtually, others in person. So it's been fun.
Yeah, well, she was talking about Jack Harvey today. I'm like,
Love it.
how do you remember that?
She's into the podcast. She's part of the crew.
Big fan.
Alfie, this will be coming your way courtesy of Scott Rifen from
Oh,
Disney. He sent it to me. He sent me one and you one. He's got to love him. Last few years when he's gone to Disney at Christmas time, he has sent me the Christmas character that's going on there at Galaxy's Edge. And so he said, I knew Alfie would want to have one. It's really cool. I've never seen a green droid like that before. It looks like a Christmas tree, but once we meet up here soon, that will be coming your way.
thank you very much, Scott.
Yep. I had some fantasy football winnings, not from our league, but from the other league I'm in. And
Are you commissioner there too?
yes,
Seriously.
I'm commissioner of both
Collusion.
leagues.
Collusion.
So one of my purchases that should be here soon, as you know, my wife got me that Kenner Y wing, but it was missing some parts on it. They're hard to find in complete,
Mm-hmm.
all together. But I found a guy who does 3D printing of the parts that I'm missing. So we're putting that together right now. I've ordered those, and I will be getting the back end of the Y wing to actually make it form the Y, and have those on there pretty soon. So that's one thing. The other thing that I purchased with my fantasy football winnings from the other league, I will keep that as a surprise, and I will display that next week during the show when we cover the finale of the Skeleton Crew. So really excited about it. It's something I've been wanting for a long time, and finally got my hands on it. It will be here in the next few days. So
Ooh, what is it?
so excited! I'm so excited. But yeah, that's I've been, as you guys know, I keep my money tight, right here in the pocket because I'm always thinking about trips in Italy and everything else. But little fantasy football winnings came my way, so throw caution to the wind and buy a few things, and I'm really pumped about that. And Didek, I was pumped seeing your pictures you were sending from Ollie's. That looked like a huge display of items. Alfie, have you gone to the Ollie's here in town?
With the weather, I did not. I will probably hold off until Friday or Saturday, and I will try to make it down to ours, at least the one by work.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually, believe it or not, walked out of there empty-handed just because I couldn't bring myself to buy anything because right now I'm in a situation where I'm pretty much out of shelf space in my basement right now, and I'm like kind of trying to reevaluate not my life, but how I'm going to make it all fit in there. So
Okay.
we'll figure that out. But I actually do. I got to get that Omega that's there. I mean, with the 40% off, they're going to be like $5 for a Black Series. I mean, I should have got. There's ones I want to get. I'm hoping that 40% off stays for a while because I'll tell you what, they can't move those Marvel Legends figures in those stores. They're going to eventually just probably wind up in the dumpster, honestly, because they're still trying to get rid of the Eternals figures and also Doctor Strange, the latest Doctor Strange. There's figures from that they can't get rid of, and every now and then you see a cool Marvel Legends that I've bought them when I find the cool ones like mixed in there. Like I've gotten that Captain America, I've gotten a couple of them there, but it really needs to catch my eye for me to buy one of them. But yeah, there's a good selection there, man, and you can get them for a very good price. And even the kids line of the Star Wars toys is 40% off as well. So all toys at Ollie's 40% off.
Not that we're sponsored, but we'd love to be sponsored. So.
Please, I'd love to be sponsored by them. I mean, I saw that picture you sent, and I immediately feel like I have a serious problem because, like I said, there was only one that I have not bought there that was in that picture, and I bought them all at Ollie's.
While we're on toy talk here, and I'll keep this brief. Are these micro galaxy figures, are they starting to kind of dominate your Star Wars sections at your stores? Like they're getting a couple shelves and it's like Black Series is kind of empty. I guess there's a market for them. I guess people are buying them. I usually just see them sitting there and I like look at them and go, all right, like these are cool. Like the pod racers are heavily discounted right now at my Target. The Sebulba, Gazgano, and I think it's Dud Bolt possibly who's in there as well. But those are the three. That's like $17. I would buy it. I just don't know where the hell I would put it. Like that's, I don't know. But those seem to be taking up a lot of shelf space lately in stores. I've yet to buy one. You guys haven't gotten any of those yet, right?
I got almost the entire first wave except for the Falcon, but I got them all on clearance too. So they're really pushing them. I agree. But as far as selling, I don't know about that. I've seen them at Ross in Marshalls. I bought them on clearance at Walmart. Like you said, they're heavily discounted at Target right now.
Yeah.
And some of them are really cool. Like that Ghost is impressive. That was a Black Friday deal for $15 on Walmart.com. They were gone within minutes.
It's just another thing I can't get into. That's why it's like I look at them, I'm like, these are cool, but I can't do it.
The smaller ones are reasonable for $15, but I think the AT-AT was like 80. I mean, it was impressive. The Imperial Shuttle was impressive, but they're just a little too expensive for my taste. But you know me, if I see it on clearance, then it's a whole different story.
I noticed that my Target my local Target did clearance out a handful of Black Series. I missed them, and by the time I got there, all completely empty. Walked down to like 7, 8, 9, $10, something like that. They were the Shriek Hawks and something else that were all gone. And then I finally did see the Cobb band for like $7. That was originally $25.
Mhm.
So but they were all clearing. They were all gone. They still had the spots there, but outside of that, they really didn't have any Black Series, and it was it was the smaller ones. I forget the name of them, but it was mostly those.
Yeah,
And then
like
at Ollie's, that Young Jedi series, that entire series is at Ollie's now. Every
Mhm.
single playset, ship, character, all there for nothing.
yeah, saw those.
If only they had a television station that was catered to children where they could promote such products.
Yeah, that would work.
If only the kids were watching that for television station where they were promoting that.
You're telling me kids don't watch Bluey?
I'm saying that the kids are watching iPad and YouTube once they hit past Bluey.
Okay.
Well,
I
here's
don't
what I
agree.
will say is the problem is if you have Disney Plus, their whole Disney Junior library is on there, so the kids can just watch it without commercial. Because it's funny for me because David and Harper grew up watching Disney Junior, like just on TV.
Right.
But like for Addison now, it's like we've gotten so used to having Disney Plus. It's like if she wants to watch like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, whatever, you just throw it on there and it's on demand and it just goes right into the next episode. So
If you pay for Disney Plus.
true, if you pay for Disney Plus.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a marketing guy, right?
Pretty
So
sure the Disney Junior channel is still doing pretty well as heavily as they keep making Blueys
Oh, definitely.
and Spider-Man.
tons of Spider-Man. Before we're gonna be heavily discussing Skeleton Crew. Are there other things that you guys are seeing out there? Other fandoms, other things related to Star Wars, or I know you guys mentioned what wasn't it, Lord of the Rings animated came out and kind of went nowhere. I know I'm looking forward to going to see the new Captain America with the Red Hulk in it. I want to go check that out. Are there um, are there other things coming up? Because I think that's in January or February, isn't it? That movie?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
soon.
Yeah. So any other things fandom wise, other Star Wars or other things you guys want to hit before we go into our long discussion on our love for the skeleton?
Alfie, we were talking about this in the text chain at some point. Is it Warzone? I believe it's Channing Tatum. There is this video that looks like it's a movie that's being shot, and it's I believe it is Afghanistan, and it's shot in real time of like an hour and a half real time from told by the survivors of the event,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like it is 10 times more intense than Black Hawk Down or the opening to whatchamacallit.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, way more intense from those two. And if that thing is in, like, just watching the preview, I was enthralled. And if you watch that thing in IMAX 3D, I could see people walking out with PTSD from watching that show. Have you seen it, D-Doc? You're shaking your head.
I've
Have you
seen that trailer. Yes, it's an A24 movie, right?
I don't know much about it. I think it's called Warzone or something like that. It looks to be fantastic if you're into war movies. It looks to be super intense. But yeah, like I don't know much more about it. I'd have to look it up and find all that stuff. But yeah, that was something that's coming out. I want to say it's coming out sometime in like spring, but I could be wrong too.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can.
it looks very good. I saw the preview for that, and I was
Warfare.
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 When's it come out?
Let me look here. Not seeing any release
It
date.
just says 2025, no date, just
Yeah.
sometime in 2025.
Yeah, that'll be an intense one in the theater.
Joe, have you seen Wicked? Are you going to see that movie?
I have not. I will wait. I was I will wait until it's available for me to watch here in the comfort of my home. But no, I have not seen it. I have no problem with it. I probably will watch it, but
It's very
no.
good. It's very good.
Yesterday, so
Sure, it's great.
just want you to know, Joe. Yesterday, my daughter decided to put on, because I was half dead laying in bed. She tried to put on a short play of Wicked,
Mm-hmm.
and she did her face half in Glenda makeup, and then somehow she found some green makeup on the side. So when it was Alphaba's song, she would turn to the side that was green
Love
and
it.
sing, and when it was Glenda's song, she would turn to the side that was like made up. I loved every second of it, and she loved every second of doing it. Though it was awesome.
Um, I I kind of wish you would have recorded that. I want to see that now, but no. I look. I have no problem with it. It's not. I loved Wizard of Oz, so if it's related to that, I even like the one that came out. What with the guy from Spider Man? I'm blanking his name. Uh,
Michael Jackson?
no. Well, yes,
That's
I
the
love.
Wiz.
That's the Wiz. I like that. I saw that growing up.
He's on down the
On the
road.
road, dun dun dun. He's on
Don't
down.
you get? He's on down the road.
Yes, sorry. I was looking to purchase a Captain America shield, by the way. That's next
Yes.
on my agenda. So,
Joe's got fun money. He's buying again. He's back, Alfie.
but no, what the guy James Franco, right? Wasn't he in the Oz movie?
Oh,
Oh, there
yeah,
was an
they did that.
Oz, great and powerful.
Yeah.
or something
Wow,
like
you
that.
tied him again. You said Spider Man.
He was in Spider Man.
Yeah, he was.
What should I have tied him to, Alfie? What Sopranos, Game of Thrones, porn movie should I
Anything,
have put him on?
just anything. Now, if you would have said he was the Green Goblin in Spider Man or the Hobgoblin, right?
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
he
It's
was in
Harry
the
Osborn.
yeah.
Yeah,
Come on,
Okay.
man.
he was in.
His best
Oh.
movie is 127 Hours. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie, but that movie is incredible.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
a good one.
It's the true story of the guy who fell when he was hiking and got his arm jammed between the rocks and had to cut his own arm off.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Maybe Planet of the Apes.
when that movie came
Yeah,
out,
that
I
was
was
a-
a bit younger and I was into some other activities that I don't do anymore. And that was a movie that was a bad idea to do some things before I went and saw it.
Wow.
It was a little bit
Candyman was the
freaky.
worst one for me. I don't know why we thought that was a good idea, but was not a good experience.
That's what growing and maturing does, guys. We get to make these mistakes, make these decisions, and learn from them.
That and Argo. I'll never forget walking into Argo
Oh.
when that embassy started getting invaded, man. I was sitting there in the theater just like I was like terrified.
Do you still remember the Star Wars tie-in to Argo?
No, I don't actually.
Oh,
They're filming.
Brent,
Oh,
you're
you're
muted.
muted, Brent.
Sorry, I was talking to my daughter. They used Ralph McQuarrie art to try to use and get filming locations. That's what they were going there as a guise of shooting a movie, because at the time Star Wars had just come out and sci-fi was popular.
Yeah, I do remember it was a sci-fi movie. I just didn't know the direct tie-in. That's pretty cool.
and then they had at the end when they were in his kid's bedroom, like now that he was back home and everything like that. His kid had Star Wars figures up on his shelf in his room. So it was pretty cool. But I love Argo.
Very
That's-
good movie.
Of course, I was not partaking in anything when I watched Argo, so that's probably why. Yeah. We've got something from Avi Aki.
He was here last week.
Okay, Avi
Yes,
Aki.
he was.
Hey,
Welcome back.
James Franco. I would not put him at the Jude Law level. No.
Wow.
I'd
agree. He's no Jude Law.
Yeah.
He's no world class actor.
So the Captain American
Yeah,
Shield.
I do read your text messages.
The world class, you picked up on that.
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Yeah, I won't bring up Wicked again though for a while because I'm gonna send Alfie back to the to his acolyte Fireball days if I keep talking about Wicked
Ugh.
on this podcast.
Telling you,
Is
there's only
Wicked?
room for one musical in my life, and it's filled. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it is.
Is it Grease? Is that the musical in your life?
No, Monty Python.
Les Mis?
No, Monty Python. He's already told us before.
Oh yes, he did.
Brent,
Tell us
you
that.
do listen. That
What,
gets me right there.
what about the Muppets Christmas Carol? Michael Caine. I mean, that's
I'm not counting. That's the Muppets, though. That I'm not. All Muppet movies are like that. I would not count them as musicals. I mean, that'd be like going through every Disney movie. Technically counts as a musical.
okay. I'm just throwing out ideas.
I'm just telling you. For myself, I turned down some serious action and bypassed seeing Evita. As soon as they started singing 30 seconds into the movie,
Hold up.
I left.
Okay, wait a minute. You bypassed some
I said
serious.
no. I'm not. This isn't worth sitting through.
Oh, what a circus! Oh, what a show!
Yeah.
Argentina has gone to town.
Argentina.
That's how much I dislike musicals.
See-
I never left you.
So, Andrew Haley, if you're still hanging on, this is the shit I was talking about.
There you go. There's W. Dave Doc comment from Callie Young in there. Appreciate you, man. Follow him on Twitter for a long time. He's always been a good supporter of mine. So shout out to him.
Okay, Alfie, other news from the book of Alfie. Other news that we don't. Obviously, you guys discussed 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. Damn, that makes me feel old. 25-year anniversary or 20-year? 20-year. Right? Of Revenge of the Sith?
Yep.
Yes. 20-year. Wow. Those are. I hope they both go in the theater. I hope each one of them gets like a month in the theater.
Which was what's the anniversary for Lego Star Wars? No,
It's
it's
also-
20. Is it 20 or 25?
One of those two, 20 or
20.
25.
I
Yeah.
think it's 20 for Lego. Yes.
I'm gonna date myself here severely, but I can remember seeing the reveal trailer for that at Celebration 3. I think it would have been. That was the Revenge of the Sith celebration.
I was probably there.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. I'm looking here real quick and seeing if there's any other news that I'm missing or anything. Celebration Japan. I told you I ran into our uncle / cousin. I don't know if you were on, Alfie, but he's heading to Celebration Japan. Wanted to know if we were going, if the podcast was going. I asked him if he'd ever paid attention to the podcast, and there's no way they would let our group go and be a part of that. But also, I'm not spending money to go to Japan for Star Wars, so that's coming up. Is there going to be a lot of news at that? That's this year, right? The only thing they can talk about is the Grogu and Mando movie, and then whatever else we're putting on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah, it'll probably be Mando Grogu trailer, and maybe we'll get James Mangold talking about his movie a little bit more.
When is the celebration? Like what month?
I want to say it's in May, but I could be completely.
Yeah, you could get a serious Andor trailer.
Andor.
Yeah.
Because that's not coming out until like the fall, right?
Maybe.
There's nothing on the schedule for right after Skeleton Crew.
Maybe they'll talk about a bunch of movies they're not going to make again.
Okay.
April 22nd is Andor.
Yeah, so that'll be out before.
Yeah.
Is it May, or do we know when Celebration is?
Let me fire up the Google machine here.
So what is April? Andor is April?
Yes.
Oh, holy crap.
April 22nd.
Okay. I'll have to steal somebody else's Disney Plus coming in that month.
Celebration is April 18th through the 20th.
So you probably will get.
You'll get the big. You'll have people watching the first episode early there. That's usually what they do.
Yeah, that was some nice, interesting quote from James Mangold. I think it came out today, maybe yesterday.
I think you posted it. Yeah.
25,000 years before A New Hope.
Do you
Or
think
he says before any known Star Wars movie, so that's even before Episode 1.
Prequels.
now?
Yeah.
Do you think like people? I feel like people are trying to spin that what he said almost as a negative thing against Star Wars fans. Did any of you guys take it that way? How he was just like, you can't win in this timeline, like, which is why I want to go, which I'm fine with that. That's why I'm like, I don't care. Like, I agree with you. Go 25,000 years before and start fresh with something. I don't care. Like, I don't know. I feel like people are trying to make it out to be like, yeah, like, see how toxic you Star Wars fans are, like, blah blah blah. Like, he, listen to what he's saying or whatever. Like,
Everybody's toxic, man.
I
Go on the Reddit forum for keeping beta fish, and those people are absolutely just
Oh
as
my
vicious, if
gosh.
not more, than Star Wars fans.
Keeping beta fish. Come on. Did anybody else used to put ping pong balls like you're at the carnival in with the beta fish, like at your house? Did you just have a ping pong ball floating in there?
No.
I mean, I feel like it's like second nature to them to have that in the bowl with them.
nah, I always hated those fish because my sister won one at a fair, and my parents put it in our fish tank with me and my brother's fish and freaking killed all of them.
Yeah,
Right.
beta fish are bad news.
That's hence the name fighting fish. Yeah. They don't play well with others.
So you guys have to tell me. I found a $90 Captain America all metal shield with the leather straps behind it on Amazon.com. If you guys see a better deal than that, tell me before I buy it. So keep your eyes out for me, will you?
If you want it, get it.
I was gonna say you're gonna talk to this crowd to tell you to like talk you
You're
out
going
of
to ask
something?
me for buying advice?
You
You
guys
buy
find,
it.
you guys find all the clearance stuff though.
Do it.
Right?
I think you're going to have to leave your little studio there a little bit. You got to go back out into the wild. You're going to hunt.
I know you're the reason I got into this world, Joe, with these Black Series and stuff. You guys are the reason. We
I'm
need you
sorry.
back in. We need to reel you back in.
Hey, man, I
Well-
got this vendor number now. We can order cases straight from Entertainment Earth. It's
Yeah, I
gonna
was
be
doing that
awesome.
for a while. Yeah, I was. That's a problem. I'm glad I got off that train.
You got a lot of my money.
Well, I'll tell you what, there hasn't been anything new worth buying on the shelves. If there's something worth buying at full price, I will buy it. But there
there
has
was a
not been
Neil,
anything worth buying.
I would buy it.
I would too.
Neil's badass. Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, we've talked a lot about fandom, Star Wars, things like that. Anything else going in personal lives? Anything you guys are working on? New jobs? Brent's been sick. Alfie's daughter turned 6. Anything else going on? New babies? New pets?
Oh, God.
No. Alfie, you're getting old enough that your oldest kid's going to start telling you they're going to have a baby. That's how old
Don't.
you're getting.
We're not there
Oh
yet.
God, yeah. I just had like convulsions. Like, I mean, she did just turn. My daughter just turned 13, so I officially have a teenager in the house.
I'm telling you guys, flip of a switch. Joey posted a picture from Disney today where I think it was like a 5-year swap. Him, Riley, and the 2 kids standing in front of the castle. And then 5 years ago, he and Riley just standing in front of the castle. And he was like, things have changed quite a bit. Just like you, Alfie. You went from 6 years ago being like, okay, we got our 2, we're done, to now Mrs. Elliott running around with
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did we're not having any more kids. We're doing one big blowout trip to Disney. I don't want to know the cost of anything. We're just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come home to find out, hey, guess what? Surprise.
You blew it out, didn't you?
Yeah.
Most magical place on earth, man.
Ah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I have my background on my phone where it shows me just like scrolls of old pictures of the kids, and it changes constantly. And it's like I just see this one of the little guy right now, and it's crazy, man. You have these kids, and life just hits the fast forward switch on you. And these pictures make me sad, but they also make me happy because these kids are growing up, and it's crazy to think. You see stuff from 6 months ago, and you're like, "What the hell?" Like, it's crazy. So
Okay, so I'm going to take you on a time warp real quick, just before we
Let's do the
time
time
warp
warp
again.
again.
Yes, I watched that a number of times with my daughter.
musical.
Musical, yes, one of my favorite musicals right there. But Tim Curry in that movie, by the way, I'm having a hard time having a movie that Tim Curry's not good in. And he was also good in Elijah, the Wild Thornberries. Yeah, that was a fantastic cartoon, by the way. So here we go. 10 years ago and 20 years ago, we're talking about The Force Awakens and we're talking about uh, Revenge of the Sith. Do a quick backtrack. I'll be first. I'll get it out of the way. I'm pretty easy. 10 years ago, I went to go see The Force Awakens with Joey and a few other people, and he was 21, still in college, still working radio gigs, overnights, all that kind of stuff. Emily was 12. Maddie's somewhere in between. So life was pretty wild. I was chasing kids everywhere. My son could officially drink, and it was a wild scene. 20 years ago, Emily was not. Emily was 2. Come on. So Joey was 11. Maddie was 7. So time goes by pretty quick. I probably changed jobs 4 or 5 times since then. I've moved 4 or 5 times since then. So where were you? Real quick flashback 10 and 20 years ago.
Well, I could start. 20 years ago, I will say I did not see Revenge of the Sith in theaters. That's why I want to see it this time, because
Wow.
I blame my brother for it. It's his fault because he said he heard that he I remember he was like, I heard this isn't good after when Attack of the Clones came out. He's like, they're not good anymore. People have told me they're not good anymore. So me being a young kid, I just listened to my brother and was like, oh, I heard they're not good anymore. So I didn't watch those till they came out on DVD. So I was the 13-year-old kid who knows what the hell I was doing. 10 years ago for Force Awakens, what comes to mind for me was me and Meg were in our 1-bedroom apartment together. So there was that. And I remember I thought it was the craziest thing that I could buy Force Awakens the day it came out on my Xfinity cable box. I was like, this is crazy. I can buy the movie from Xfinity the day it came out and
Wow.
and watch it right now. So that's my memory of Force Awakens. I mean, I loved the movie when I saw it in theaters, but yeah, I remember building that Millennium Falcon. That's when I started getting back into Lego, and here we are today. That's when my Star Wars journey kind of re-began, I would say.
Okay. Alfie, before you start, did we go see Revenge of the Sith together? I know we went and saw Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but I'm not sure if we saw Revenge of the Sith together.
We did not see Revenge of the Sith together.
There we go.
We did, however, watch a China bootleg
We did.
of Revenge of the Sith.
We did.
I somehow came across a large amount of copies of that. It was pretty good, except I think it had the running time in the corner. But other than that, all the effects were finished, and you didn't have to flush it to get it to play. So that was a bonus. I don't know if D-Doc, you're probably not old enough to remember, or maybe you guys just didn't watch bootleg copies, but sometimes you had to flush them. And then I don't know why it would work after that.
Yes, my 7-Eleven used to sell bootlegs when I was younger. I would be like, this is in theaters. How is this for sale here right now?
Did it have Elaine Bennis dancing at the end of the movie, D-Doc?
Dude, bootlegs were great, especially if you got a good one. I forget. I had my hands on a couple of them. I forget. I know I got There Will Be Blood for like $5 when that came out from my 7-Eleven.
I had the Fellowship of the Ring, but it was in Mandarin, and it took
Yes, you told us about this.
forever to figure out which of the symbols was for English.
Dude. That's passion right there if you're gonna watch that.
So 20 years ago, I stood in line for the midnight screening of Revenge of the Sith at it would have been AMC at the time, the one by the mall.
Yep.
And they had it on every screen. They opened the doors at midnight and they filled every single theater before they started the movie. So the movie didn't start till well after 1:00 in the morning. Then I saw it after work by myself, and then I saw it a third time after that with Robin. So I watched it 3 times on opening day.
And you took your son to see The Force Awakens.
Yeah, 10 years ago, Enzo was 6, and we went to the 6:00 showing on Thursday, the very first one, and it was amazing. Maybe I see that movie in a different light just because of the experience, but it was great. He loved it, and it was seriously like looking into a mirror of the past, watching him watch it.
Yep. That's the way it was for Phantom Menace with me and Joey, so I know what you're talking about. Brent, how about you? I'll let you tie up this segment.
Yeah,
Skeleton Crew.
I'm probably the biggest letdown of the whole crew. I cannot remember Revenge of the Sith in the theater or not. I mean, I've watched it 100 times since then, but I cannot remember it in the theater or what theater I would have been in. It was right around the time because that was a May release, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if I was still in Arizona at the time or if that was during my transition from Arizona to Indiana. So I cannot remember. Yeah, so that was that one, Revenge of the Sith. And then I think that I watched Force Awakens. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I watched it up in Fort Wayne because that was like a December release. But my daughter would have been around, like just barely around, and I can't remember. Like I know that I went one night after everybody went to bed, but I can't remember if I had my daughter with me and my wife was still in school and came up later. I don't remember her being around, but like I do know that like I left my parents to watch my daughter so I could go watch her. That's about all I got for you.
No, I mean, look, how much has our life changed since these 2 movies came out? It's crazy. And here we are 5 years into a podcast. Holy crap. Actually, I think January 9th was when I started this podcast with Joey. January 9th, 2020. So
it'll be the summer before I hit my 5-year, but yeah.
Yeah, so 5-year anniversary tomorrow. Holy crap. Thanks for reminding me of that.
So, since we're talking about this, we got to lock it in now.
Yes.
If they re-release The Force Awakens, we have to pay attention if it comes back to the State Museum.
Oh, IMAX.
Though that is one of a handful of true IMAXs. And I never got to see it there during the original release.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually just saw Sonic 3 in the Dolby Digital Theater. Have you guys ever been to AMC's Dolby Digital Theater?
Yes.
Like there's like
not
2 of
RPA.
them. Yeah, it's very like the sound is crazy in it.
Have you ever been to the RPXs where they have like the motion seat, like where the seat will vibrate with the?
There was the theater that I went to with the Egyptian theater.
Yeah.
When we saw Moana,
Gotcha.
the rows in front of us, apparently they paid for those, but my seat kept vibrating, and I think it was just the sound. It was just the vibration traveling through the floor because I wasn't in like a seat that would do that.
Anyone who has gone to those, say, buy the seat in front or the seat behind because your seat you will get the same experience and pay like $3 less.
I don't want to vibrate when I'm in the movie theater, though. That's the thing.
I'm not going to
don't
comment on that because I got thoughts going through my head right now, and I'm like, yeah, Good. There's not a lot of people there.
It reminds me of Universal Studios Hollywood when we just went on our trip to California. Because like I was telling Meg, I'm like, every ride there is somehow a simulator ride where you're sitting in the seat and it's vibrating and just shaking you around. Where I was like, every ride cannot be that. I get it that it's like part of it, but like I don't want to just sit in a seat and be shook around. I need I want to move. I want to actually do something rather than vibrate around in my seat.
Okay.
So yeah,
I feel your passion.
no vibrator in the movie theaters for me.
Joe, get out of the gutter. Joe, get out. Joe and Alfie, get out of the gutter.
Hey, I went right there.
Joe and Alfie, get out of the gutter.
I just hearing the words come out of his mouth like that were just so funny. Sorry. All right. You know what, Brent? I'm going to let you lead the way on the Skeleton Crew because you said that's all I got for you on Force Awakens and Revenge of the Sith. But you know what? Daggone it, I know you're going to hit us. You're going to hit it hard on Skeleton Crew.
So here's
Bring
my
it.
thing. And so you guys said in your text chain, because I'd watched half of it already and I fell asleep because I was in a stupor. You guys said I didn't see that twist coming. And I watched this thing waiting for a twist, and I saw no twist. Like there is nothing. Yeah, I got you, but there and like, I mean, Alfie was like, "It's good," and then Doc said it's good, but like, where's the twist? Because to me, there's absolutely nothing that seems twisted about where we're going and what's going on.
I'll just throw in because I'm the one
Really?
that said it. I didn't see him. I didn't see him shooting Brutus. I didn't see him killing Brutus.
Gun smoking Brutus. He didn't just shoot him.
He did. We finally got a gun smoke. And over here, Hyperspace Heroes said "Et tu, Brudi?" As far as one of the comments. So I want to throw that in there too. "Et tu, Brute?" I mean, okay, so he shot Brutus, but Brutus the entire time was trying to kill him. Because let's be honest, if Brutus sees the gold, what's Brutus going to do to Jude Law?
It's gonna kill him,
right? Because he's a pirate. Now, there's also I think I saw somewhere online on one of the social medias that like watching that final scene felt as bad as watching knowing Anakin killed the younglings. And just because he sparked his lightsaber doesn't mean that he's going to follow through with anything.
Right.
Agreed.
But I mean, he did say that he was going to do it to the kids, but I think that was also to scare the poop out of the kids. But now we'll see what happens when push comes to shove.
I think the whole twist for me was, and I'm just going to admit it, I am so happy to have read his character wrong, or at least how long they're going to prolong this. You got me. That's all I can say, and I'm happy about it. I completely expected they dropped hints through each episode of him, repeating some lines from different Jedis and talking about attachments and just different things that led you to think that he was still a pretty good guy. The way the kids hugged him when he brought the herd of Yopis back, and then once the treasure was in his grasp, I mean, his character completely turned and locked in. That was pretty different than at least what I expected from his character, and pretty different than. I mean, I've compared this to Pirates of the Caribbean quite a bit, and the way that Barbossa and Captain Jack Sparrow and Will Turner were always backstabbing each other, going against each other, but they also weren't necessarily out to kill one another, except in the first movie because Jack had the one shot for Barbossa. But I think you get what I'm trying to say. When he had the opportunity, he used the Force on his cuffs. He shot Brutus in the head. He took over the ship. He ignited the lightsaber in what kind of looked like a Form 7, lightsaber out in front, very aggressive. And yeah, he scared the crap out of the kids.
Going forms on us, huh, Alfie?
Well, that's what it looked like. It was very Form 7, like the way that Mace Windu fights.
It was out to the. To me, it was out to the side. I could see it as a
Right.
Mace Windu. Yeah, it's out to the
Out
side.
to the side in
I can
front
see
of
Mace.
him.
I can see the Mace Windu now that you say it.
I like that he went through the
Mm.
moves as well. Like, hey, I didn't just pick this up. I know how to use this.
I know, exactly. That's what I was thinking watching it. I'm like, this isn't his first time messing with one of these.
No, he seemed really comfortable with it. And
But
I like the one scene where he was standing there. It kind of reminded me of like uh, the old movie posters of Star Wars, where Luke and then Anakin at different times had it to where they were like standing up straight, their legs were a little spread apart, and the lightsaber was coming back across them like that. He pulled that scene that looked like a movie poster, in my opinion. So, but I don't know the forms, but that's the one that stuck with me. But you're right, when he took it out like that. It did have a Mace look to it. Now that I think about it,
When he took it out like that.
see,
All you guys, gutters. I'm shocked and appalled to be here right now.
Steve
Anyways,
would be very
it's
upset.
also like it also looked like so. And forgive me, I don't know the games very well, but I've seen a very iconic image of I think is it Starkiller when he pulls down the battleship. He's
Right.
standing very similar to the way John's standing as well. Correct. He kind of has the sword out to the side in that same kind of pose in that cutscene.
I like it.
Do you remember? Am I in the right
Yeah.
video
I'm
game?
with
I
you.
don't know the name
Yeah.
of the game, but like the same kind of Jedi pose as Starkiller as well.
So I got a message from Tom Line, and he said the Onyx Cinder looks BA with its new appearance. Very sleek, very shiny, very clean. It's a nice looking ship. Yeah, I think it's a good looking ship.
It reminds me of Maul. It reminds me of Maul's ship.
Yeah, the Sith infiltrator. It does kind of
With,
look like that.
without like the TIE fighter, because the Sith infiltrator has the TIE fighter like
Yeah.
sea wings, but like it looks very similar in shape and body to the Maul ship.
It's like a Sith infiltrator and a oh my god, is it a U-wing? Is that what's on Scarif?
Yeah.
Yeah,
U-wings.
the engines are like the U-wing, and it has that look of the Sith infiltrator. So it's a sweet ship.
Aviaki throws in there. He's a Sith Padawan instead of being a Jedi Padawan. So when we're talking about the A-lister right there, so that's cool.
That would make perfect sense, actually.
Yeah, it would.
Because who was Mace Windu's Padawan?
You're gonna go through.
I
this
don't know
lineage.
who Mace Windu's Padawan was.
Pong Carell?
Pong. That was like the forearm guy from Umbara, right?
Right. Who
turned on the clones.
Okay.
I didn't know that he was connected to Mace. So you're saying that Pong then somehow found Jod?
Maybe he had a Padawan at some point.
I don't know. I just think he is a pirate, and he is a scoundrel, and he's not a good pirate or a good scoundrel, right? Because there's the good pirate and scoundrel.
Or is he just a really good pirate? Because he pretty much fooled everybody.
True.
Well, okay, so good.
I know. I'm just playing on your words. I know what you're saying. I'm sorry.
So Han, right? So people are like, he reminds me of Han, like early on, right? Like he's not a Han. He is not a Han, right? But he's not Lando. He's more Lando than he is Han, because Lando was out to save his own skin the entire time, the whole way through. But like, he's more Hondo.
He's Hondo, but with Force abilities.
Right. So I don't know if I just think he's got Force abilities. I don't know if he's got to be a Padawan for anybody. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
Gotcha.
I know. That's why I was just throwing it out there, because it irks you so much.
Go ahead, D-Doc.
I just happened to notice it last night watching it, and I didn't notice it in the first episode. Did you notice that his helmet, if you were to take the larger part off the top, that it kind of looks like Revan's helmet?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because I was looking at it last night, and I'm like, wait a second. If you didn't have that like thicker part up top, if it just went up and went rounded off, I felt like it kind of looked like Revan style helmet. I should bring up a picture of him wearing it, but I just that was like a take. I didn't watch the episode twice, so that was just like a live action take I had. I was like, ooh, that kind of looks like Rev. I'm not saying it has
Yeah.
anything to do with him at
Right.
all. I'm saying like a Revan inspired type helmet, like the look
Sure.
up.
Sure, and
So-
I think we as Star Wars fans want to put bigger and attach bigger things, and we look for all of those similarities and those synergies, and we try to attach deeper meanings and synergies to it as well. But like I said, it looks like those ships have those resemblance, just like those helmets have those resemblance. But I don't. I go back to like when I look at Aviaki's comment, it's okay to have force sensitivity and not be connected to one side or the other.
Gotcha.
In my opinion, this is the
I'm
Dyke
in on that.
Method.
I think it makes things a little more fun.
In one man's opinion.
I
So
agree with that, but I don't think he would be that good. And I don't think he would talk the way that he talks if he wasn't attached to. But then again, it could just be misdirection by the writers, and I applaud you for that.
So some of the major things we see in there. One, Wim says it's not a pirate ship; it's an At-Atten ship, and
Right.
then we see that the key to getting in is that ship, and that things go from red to green, right? The red light to green light
Mhm.
on the barriers the whole way down. So those are pretty cool. You know, 33 turns back against Jod and goes to defend the kids, right? Which was interesting.
Loses his head too.
And then loses his head about it. So I thought that was pretty cool. I loved another thing I noticed. I love the ET communicator that the parents are putting together, and
That whole scene was from ET.
100%, 100%. I thought we were going back to stun gun world, like the Bad Batch, though. Every freaking my wife was watching. She goes, "Why don't these people run faster?" It's like every one of them's getting stunned. I was like, "Yeah, I know." It kind of worked out that way, but I like that they each left a message for their kids, something different for each kid from the different parents. And did anybody else get a Gringotts feel when you finally got down to the vaults? I mean, I felt like, oh my gosh, we're in Gringotts here. And
No,
then
I felt it was what is it, Aldani? I was getting Aldani vibes.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
all
And
right,
so that made me start thinking back to like when they were talking through episode 1 or episode 2 when they started running through all the A planets and Shmi basically said Aldani, and what did he say? It was a bog planet,
A sulfurous bog.
a
Yep.
sulfurous bog, which makes me think then like did they create this gas and nebula around At-Atten to try to make them think it's the same thing because of what happened at Aldani? Because that happened in the past. I don't like how
This
long
had-
ago.
This would be way
Way.
past
I
that.
know it's way past that, but like so it would actually be way earlier than that when they created the sulfurous nebula. But is that why they created that in the documents is to try to keep the riches at Aldani secret and call it
Maybe
a sulfurous bog? Because what about what
Mhm.
we still don't know what happened at Cassian's home planet too, because when we were there when he was a kid it wasn't as bad, but there was the story that it was basically destroyed and it was a nothing planet. So there was this lie about what was actually going on his planet too. So there seems to be these lies
like a
that cover up.
circle.
There's these lies that cover up what actually is going on every one of
Right.
those
Like
planets.
Vader saying that Jeddah
Jeddah.
was destroyed in a mining accident.
Correct. Dr. Squatch hopped in, said, hey guys, haven't seen the new episode yet, but wanted to stop by and say hello. We always love when Dr. Squatch says hello. And when we do get a chance to head down south and check out an Auburn game, I'm sure Alfie and I will go hang with him. But, between Adam Parker and T-Bob down at LSU and Dr. Squatch at Auburn, I think we're pretty taken care of in the SEC right now. Feeling good. Go ahead.
Guys, I just want to share the the helmet here. And can you see what I mean when you see
Mhm.
that like Revan similarity? If that top wasn't on it, like I guess it's like the slit. Now that I'm like looking at it like closed, it's kind of whatever. But I mean, is he a Sith with this helmet? Like, I mean, it's interesting that he decided to throw it back on once he like kind of started to become a bit more evil again. It's like, hey, here we are with my helmet back on again. You know what I mean? It's I wonder where his helmet was, where he was able to get it and put it back on. I guess it was just sitting there somewhere on the pirate ship.
And you notice, let's talk about the Sith real quick. Aviaki bringing this up. We look at Palpatine, and he, besides being a good politician, there was a lot of times in scenes where he was the bumbling fool, right? And he got himself out of things. Then you go look at Chimera. Always played the fool. Always played the guy who was just in the background, bumbling around, and yet he was also in the Sith arts as well. So if you look at Jod, there's a lot of times where he kind of looks like the bumbling idiot from Pirates. He looks like Johnny Depp from the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? He's just getting by on luck and chance. But we also don't see some major things from him where he had to get out of some trouble, and he's not in our view when it happens, right? Whether it was the guys with the Eopies or when it was picking up SM-33 and things like that. We don't see how he didn't get killed the first time when Brutus turned on him and it was a mutiny. We just see him get captured, but you would have thought they would have shot him out the airlock right then and there. So he's always seems to be getting out of things just like those other two always did. So not to push along the Sith idea, but it does kind of correlate a little bit. It's kind of interesting.
And he also doesn't ever play his hand until he's gotten the information that he wants. He, I think the episode made it pretty clear that he probably could have fought his way out of the pirate mess, but he didn't make an attempt until he figured out that the ship was the key to getting to Aldani. So he played
Yes.
the captor and let the
Yes.
pirates make an attempt and then kept going until he figured out how you get past the barrier.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he also knows how to use people, right? So I don't know if that's
Yeah,
a
he's really good
Jedi
at that.
tactic. I don't know if that's a Jedi tactic or not, but he, like you said, like he's sitting there, he's reading, he's trying to use people. Like the reason why he got the Eopies because he knew he at that time they didn't have the coordinates to the place, and he knew he needed the kids to get back to the place, right? So, and it wasn't until he found out the coordinates and he knew that Shmi knew the coordinates that he cut the kids loose, right? Like it's a whole thing of like he knows how to get what he wants out of you, and then he'll cut you loose from that point forward.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned it last week, and I just rewatched episode 6 with my kids. They haven't watched 7 yet. They're going to be devastated when they watch it, but which is kind of awesome because it's a damn good story. But when we were watching the 6th episode, I made sure to pay attention in the scene when that woman, spoke out for him, and he was staring at her, and
Yeah,
they did show it. Like,
yeah. It was a
and
quick back and forth. It was a quick cut of like 2 or 3 different cuts, and
yes,
they were looking at each other. So I'm
and
wondering
she
if he,
kind of just blurted it out.
yeah.
You guys picked up on that one. So I think he's pretty damn strong in the force, man. I was wondering if it was magnets or strings or whatever the hell was going on. But
No, I have always thought that he's been strong in the Force. I'm not saying that he's not strong in the Force. I just don't want to loop him into one side or the other. I just think that he's a Force sensitive who, over the course of his time of being alive, has learned how to manipulate the Force, much like everybody else. Like, so if you're gonna go back to Ray, right? So Ray, everyone says that she's too powerful for her own good, but at the same time, when you're put in a powerful situation and you're trying to figure out your own way out, you start to focus a little bit harder. So she's sitting in there. I was just watching Force Awakens since we brought it up. She's sitting in there talking to Daniel Craig's stormtrooper, and she's trying to get the shit out of the chair, and she's trying to get him to change his mind. and all she's doing is saying, "You're going to let me go," and eventually she has enough focus that she gets that to happen. I don't think I don't think that that's because that she was too strong. I just think that that was her way of trying to get the hell out of the situation that she was in. And so when you learn how to do that, and this has been my big kick about the Force from the jump, is like the Force is kind of like that superhuman strength that like a person gets like to try to save their baby. You people pick up their car because their kid something's on their car. It's like that superhuman focus, and that you've tapped into it, and now the rest of your life you're trying to go back to that same type of mental state to be able to tap into it again. So if you've tapped into it and you can get yourself into that same mental state, then you don't necessarily have to have training to do it. You realize, oh, this is how I do it. You trained yourself.
You're using a bad example because Ray learned everything from her mind connection with Kylo Ren. That's straight from Star Wars.
That's straight from the book, I'm sure, probably.
No, it's
right?
not. It's straight from Lucasfilms. That's their explanation of how Ray gained her knowledge.
I don't
I
like
know
that
that
explanation.
I know she's got the duality or whatever. Okay, so fine. But like Luke at the same time, Luke had connection.
I know. I get exactly what you're saying, and I kid. But
Luke had the in Empire Strikes Back. He hadn't been taught how to force push or force pull, but he knew he goddamn needed the lightsaber to get out of the Rancor pit or whatever the Wampa pit. So he grabbed at it, and then finally came to his hand. Then
but
he learned how
he
to.
also had training, some minimal training from Obi-Wan about focusing and concentration.
Right, correct. He was told to do that, but prior to that, I mean, he didn't know what he was doing. He just knew that that was the way to save his ass, and he did it.
Yeah.
After being told how to do that with some guidance from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But here's the other thing: you say that, but every time that anytime Ray or any of those other people do any of those Force, you hear the Force theme, and this is from a guy who
Do
doesn't pay
they hear
attention
the
to the
Force
theme.
theme?
I don't hear the Force theme. But then again, I don't listen to it. Like, is there a Force theme on Skeleton Crew?
It did play when he was pulling the keys, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, in a very piratey way.
Yeah, it wasn't like the exact Force theme, but it kind of sounded like it.
So all I was gonna say is I hadn't heard a Force theme like you hear all the time. Like when Luke closes and focuses, you hear the theme. Anyways,
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm excited now that I think about it because I have those pirated DVDs. I kind of am a pirate.
Yeah, you are.
Arr.
I hate parties. Sorry I had to hop away. I have a dog who's having a procedure tomorrow morning, and he's not allowed to eat or drink after 7 p.m. So he's used to coming out at this time of night, getting a drink of water, and when it's not there, he was losing his ever loving mind.
Best.
Yeah, so I had to go take care of that real quick.
So he's like a Mogwai.
Yes, yes. While I was going taking care of those pet problems, did you guys talk about the kids in any way? How real life it was when they got the messages and from their parents, and they were going, "Do you hear that? We're not going to get in trouble for what we did." And then they were like, "Yeah, we're so in trouble when we get back there." And I liked how Neil finally in this episode, even though crap was going on, when he thought they were going home, kid was feet kicked up. He was leaning back. He was chill, thinking, "Oh, I get to go home, back to my normal, everyday, non-crazy lifestyle." He was all chill about it, while Wim was dreading it because he just didn't want to go back to. He wanted adventure. He didn't want to go back to that everyday, boring, humdrum life, and it just kind of like reality stuff, right? It's like when you finish Christmas vacation, Brent, right? And you get an extra couple days, but only because you're sick. You still have to go back to work, and you dread that, right? So, I don't know. It just seemed very cool that they were adding some reality into kids into these scenes. So I don't know if you guys picked up or felt that way as well.
No, definitely. I agree. I felt it in that. And I feel bad for Wim because it's like, it's funny because this is the first Star Wars show on Disney Plus I've watched with my full family. And me and Meg watched it last night without the kids. So I'm going to watch it with them tomorrow night. They're pissed that I watched it without them. But I'm like, I need to watch it for my podcast. They're like, what would happen if you don't watch it? I'm like, I wouldn't know what the hell I'm talking about then. Well, I don't say it like that to them. Either way, Meg was like, Wim really hasn't done anything. Like he's like, you know, I was like, well, I was like, he's written that way. That's how they wrote him because he wanted this adventure. And I feel like he wanted to be the hero and he's kind of had his opportunities and he's tried, which I think he's done a good job. But I think in his mind, I think he had a different vision of what type of role he was going to play in it, you know, which I think that is still yet to pan out. I mean, he made the right move in this episode when he knew what did he say about Jod? Like he's so greedy, he's gonna when he ran after him, he's the one who caused that situation to happen, where they got him on board. And what exactly happened there? I'm like drawing a blank on that scene. I remember he's the one who made that move though, where he went after Jod.
Well, he was just saying we have to go get it. We have to take back over the ship, and he threw caution in the wind, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
he
talking
went
about?
Leroy Jenkins and just ran after him.
So what? Leroy Jenkins. That's a good way to put it. But was he setting Jod up for something there? I'm totally like that scene is drawing a blank to me right there. But I feel like he did it on purpose, knowing what Jod was going to do. But I don't remember.
I don't.
I
I've
guess,
only watched
I guess
one.
that was another fail. Actually, then I thought there was more to it, but I think it's just another fail on Wim's part in this.
Really upset me the way Jod talked to Neil. That was unnecessary.
I hated it, man. When he turned dick mode onto the kids,
Yeah.
like
Why
that
don't you
was
just
like,
shut up?
yeah.
Wow.
But he's a pirate. He's gonna do that. Go ahead, Brent.
You don't-
I thought you were gonna say something.
You don't
he's
talk
just
to
a
Neil
pirate.
that way. Neil's so nice.
Guys, how crazy was it that because that chip showed up, those robots are so set to droids are so set to just accept the emissary, take him right into that vault, and how crazy was it? Jod lost his mind when those credits started falling in front of. I mean, you like it. We already said something switched, right? A flip switch, and he became the hey, I'm a pirate. Boom, I'm going to take this guy out point blank. I'm going to gunsmoke him. But once he saw those credits and knew that there were how many more? 1,100 more like that.
1,139.
Not 1138, but 1139. I mean, he absolutely lost his ever loving mind while they were just. It was like the kid at the slot machine, right? When they're just pouring out. Yeah, I thought he did a great job of going all crazy cuckoo for the money. And that last scene where the kids get to reunite with their parents, and then seeing Wim reunite with his dad, who those are the only two that didn't run directly for each other and hug right away. They both had a little pause, and then they decided, hey, we're going all in on this. And that was a great scene, and I loved how it finished with him standing out in front of him, lighting up, flicking his bic right in front of him. I thought that was great. So I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if the Green Gods, droids are going to come out and take care of business or what.
Yeah, because he's kind of in a jam, really. He has access to all the money, but his ship is locked up.
Yeah.
So at some point, he's going to need to interface with the droids to convince them to unlock his ship. He wants them to allow communication to the frigate, but they keep denying that.
None of it matters, in my opinion, because the supervisor knows that someone was not supposed to be coming. And the supervisor will be down there immediately at the start of the next episode. And the supervisor is going to be someone.
And he sent everybody home from work, said, see you later. You don't need to be here, right? Go home if you're not essential.
I'm with Brent. I don't think there is a supervisor.
Interesting.
I think that when the ship was caught in a tractor beam, it triggered the statement to get away because it was going. I don't think there is a supervisor.
I read something today. I didn't get to finish the article. The start of the article was a famous knighted actor was playing the voice of the supervisor. Did any of you guys see that or see who it was?
Yeah. I don't remember the name. I can look it up real quick.
So okay, so Brent, you're saying there is no supervisor. It's all like automated, right?
Yep.
Okay. D-Doc, you're agreeing with that?
I can see it now. It's kind of the reason why I'm freaked out by AI. I guess it's like the planet is being manipulated by droids because what you can't see, you're afraid of. I don't know. That's interesting.
But then again, who's not going to be greedy? A droid's not going to be greedy, and they're surrounded by all that money. A human or a humanoid type of creature is going to want all that, want all those riches.
Wynn's dad said you weren't supposed to learn any of this until you graduated. So what
Yes.
exactly do they learn when they graduate?
They tell them the truth of what they are. They're a big money laundering scheme for the Republic.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Fry is his name.
Everybody finds so all the kids are completely immune to all this stuff until they graduate, and
so
then
this
they
is
tell them.
Ozark. So we're talking. This is Star Wars Ozark.
It's got to be. But then again, who's getting all those credits? They've got them all. They're sending them all off. Obviously, ships come and pick up some of those credits and leave. Where are they going?
So here's the thing: you say ships come and pick up and leave, but what other ship? It doesn't seem like that happens.
Yeah, I don't think any ships have come for a long
time.
Okay,
and you can tell everyone didn't know what the hell to do when that ship was landing.
The Onyx Cinder had been there long enough that trees had grown on top of it.
So they just keep creating it for no reason.
And putting it in a vault.
Correct. Because that's what they're supposed to do. So they do what they're supposed to do, and they go about their lives.
And on another note, how sick was the scene of them getting through that force field and then seeing AT-AT and the tiny planet inside of that, for how big it was on the outside with this force field, to just seeing that planet sitting in the middle. I thought they nailed it with the visuals on that.
I did too.
It was awesome. I was edge of the seat watching this episode, and I was like, damn, I didn't expect myself with Skeleton Crew to be like locked in like I was last night on that episode. And I think the final one's going to be even better than what we just saw.
I think the entire, you guys point me out if I'm incorrect on this. You guys have all watched it as much, if probably not more than me, but I think this entire series has seemed cinematic compared to some of the other stuff we've watched.
I think the vault scenes were a little off in a few shots. They weren't quite convincing, but then they switched perspective and they were.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I agree. This is a very, very good looking series.
That was the first time with the gold pouring on him where I was like, I wish this wasn't CGI'd. That was the first time the whole show. That's my only minimal thing I would have changed.
It's a movie that's been turned into a television show, which is everything that they've done with the last 5 or 6. I feel like Obi-Wan, I feel like Ahsoka, I feel like this one, I think Andor, all were shot to be movies that they just broke up into 8 parts.
But Andor in this one, I feel like there's times on Mandalorian where it looks very cinematic, and there's times it looks like a TV show. Most of Obi-Wan Kenobi looked like a TV show. A lot of Ahsoka felt not very cinematic. This and Andor both feel like, 90% of the time feels like you're watching a movie. But yeah, I agree. Probably many of them were movie ideas originally that just got flipped over to Disney Plus series. But at least the viewing of this seems like I'm watching a movie instead of a TV show.
This was spoken about during the 2020 press, right? This was, or right around that same time. Mm-hmm. So this isn't a potential remake of Rangers of the New Republic, or okay.
This was on the original thing that she brought out. Skeleton Crew was. There was also a droids one, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
a droid story.
That R2 and
Lando.
3PO. Yep,
And
R2 and
Mando.
3PO. We're going to be kind of the narrators or the story around it or something like that.
I think it was supposed to be animated as well.
Huh. Okay.
I think so. I thought so anyway.
Yeah. So if you go back and look at that list, I got to wonder how many have been hit and missed.
They've
Yeah.
they've gotten to most of the ones that were in that 2020. That was like the original hype right after Mandalorian season 1 that they were like trying to during COVID. Most of them have been produced. Lando, Rangers of the New Republic, and the Droids one, because they talked about Visions, they talked about Acolyte, they talked about a bunch of the other ones. Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Here's like two questions I have in this show though right now is number one, why was that lightsaber in that treasure area? Just like that one lightsaber just sitting there. I guess just did they kill a Jedi at one point and put it in there? And
He's a
then
pirate. He steals everything.
there also needs to be an answer as to where that pirate if that pirate found At-Atin, what happened to him? Is he just dead now, like, or is he on At-Atin somewhere? I saw a funny theory on Twitter that Neil's dad is actually the pirate.
I think it might be Snowball.
Oh, you're
little
talking
rat.
about the rat that's inside of Shmi's. Yeah, I mean, you've said it a couple times.
That's interesting.
So
I thought it was interesting he didn't step on it.
You just kicked it to the side.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to smush him there for a second, and then instead he just kicked it.
You guys brought up, or D-Doc, you brought up the lightsaber. Everything I've read says it was a High Republic lightsaber, which we know the end of the High Republic was going into the beginning of the prequel era, right? Mm-hmm. So we're talking 100.
No more High Republic stuff, man. Just get it out of the shows, man. No more High Republic.
But it goes back further.
Okay.
So you got hundreds of years.
Sorry, I cut you off when you were saying.
Oh no, but I'm just saying that pirate has, as Alfie said, trees have grown on top of that ship. So that pirate was there way back when probably the prequels or the High Republic was going on. So that lightsaber makes sense timing wise for him to have in his treasure room or what have you.
Right. And people keep referring to the one that they're making Dataries, which is an Old Republic word, not a Republic word.
Oh yeah, Dataries.
Yeah, I think they say it both ways in the series. And man, I lost my train of thought. I don't know if we'll come back or not.
It wasn't Dactyr. Wasn't there a C in there too? I thought it was like Dactyries or
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we're just guys sitting in our basement talking Star Wars. I don't know.
So like in the subtitles, when they're at the when Wynn pays for the food, Old Republic is capitalized, which would, I guess, suggest that he's referring to it as the Old Republic, not you have an old, as an age-wise Republic credit. I know that's kind of really digging there, but I always found it interesting that they capitalized the word old. So that would suggest even before the High Republic.
True.
I love it.
Because it was KOTOR, right? Knights of the Old Republic?
Right.
Revan.
Which is like a great way to dabble around and introduce people to it in live action, to be like, what is the Old Republic? Because even Meg asked me that. Like, she doesn't know Star Wars that well, but she's like, what's the Old Republic? And I was like, well, that stuff, I was like, that's only been in video games and books, you know, and like kind of referenced it.
Comics.
You know?
Yeah.
But,
so it would be like 10,000 years before A New Hope. Something like that, I think.
But I'm like, this is an area that I want them to go into, and it like fires me up to see this story so being done so well that like it can spike that curiosity of the Old Republic. And I mean, there's a lot to be revealed in this next episode. There is a lot to be revealed, and I think this show is going to do it. I just don't want Jod to die because he's too good of a character. I do not want him to die in the next episode.
As you know, turncoat as he was in this episode, he still looked badass walking off of that ship with the trench coat and the the open shirt, but it's tucked in with the blaster on his side. He looked like a total pirate scoundrel badass. It was a great look.
Do we know how long this last episode is going to be? Because I mean, like having a 25-minute episode is not gonna probably tie everything up.
It's got to be a 45.
Yeah, I'd say it's
an
got to be a
hour
40-minute. Brent doesn't care. He's like, get it over with, cut it, slice it.
Doesn't I don't know. Every other Disney show, Marvel and/or Star Wars, the second to last episode was always better than the last episode. They don't stick the landing a lot of times. I would like to see all of the storylines wrapped up. However, they also said that they have an idea for where they can go for season 2. Again, it's going to age, so I feel like they'll wrap this up and probably have a second adventure come out of it. I don't know.
You know, you're right, Brent. My junior year of high school was much better than my senior year of high school. It just I didn't stick the landing on the senior year.
I mean, I had to move schools, so yeah, same.
I stuck the landing. It was a lot better.
I was a Goonie. What happens if you wake up the next tomorrow and you're in some other school, some other town?
Yeah, been there, done that.
It's our time right here. It's our time down here. They want the best of stuff for us up there. It's their time up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
Well, this was my wish, and I'm taking it with me.
I'm taking them all back. This is my wish, my dream. I'm taking it back. I'm taking it all back.
Man, now you're making me want to watch Goonies again.
It's a good movie.
Doc, did you even know that one?
No, I never watched Goonies growing up. It's just one of those ones I just did not watch.
Well, now you have to, and then you'll watch it, and then you'll want to watch Rudy, and you'll want to watch.
No, I mean, but you will see a lot of similarities because of the whole.
I've watched clips of it. I know about the Goonies. Trust me, I get this reaction every time I tell people I didn't see it. It's just one of those things that I didn't see when I was young. No. I saw The Sandlot. I saw that was my childhood. That came out during my childhood.
We didn't talk about it, but I don't think we talked about it. But when they went through the tunnels and they went through and they had to figure out how to get to the treasure room, that was very Goonie-esque. There was that was a straight, almost very reminiscent of the Goonies.
The end of this episode was very reminiscent of the Goonies. It was Jod, like the Fratellis, filling up their pockets with all the gold.
Yep.
And, the kids meeting their families on the beach. I understand those are two different scenes, but it was like those two put together.
Right, and then at the beginning when they fell off at the beginning of the scene with it was just the kids scene and the crab from Moana. Them riding through that tunnel was very similar to the Goonies of them sliding down the water tunnel when they found One-Eyed Willie's ship. I'm telling you, dude, you'll see a lot of similarities if you watch it.
Yeah, it's on demand on one of the channels. I've seen it. I want to watch it with the kids. I just the Goonies is just one that was not in my rotation growing up. All my friends always talked about it. I just didn't. It's just one of the ones that was not in the rotation.
Hey, you guys.
Jeez, mister, you smell like gym class.
and then I took the whole bag of the puke and I poured it over the edge and I started going.
You mean it's more amazing?
I love this kid.
You mean it's more amazing the time you ate Wait and Godfather's Pizza? You mean it's more
amazing the time than Michael Jackson stopped at your house to use the bathroom?
He didn't, but his sister did.
Come on, we're way too into that. Gosh, it's booby traps. That's what I said.
$50 bills. Do you hear that sound? Yeah, it sounds like my uncle taking a leak.
Ooh. All right, so here's where we're gonna go. So will he be placed back in jail at the end, Jod? Will he go off and retire, or will a civil war against the supervisor start?
I think he'll sail off into the sunset with enough treasure to pacify himself
I agree.
and start over.
I don't know if he'll enough. I don't think there's enough to pacify him because as soon as he gets away from it, he's gonna want more and want to come back.
What if Jod knows that the supervisor is a terrible dictator over this planet, and he knows the only way that he could ever have a one-on-one with the supervisor were if he were to hold families hostage in the bank in the basement there to be able to face off with the
Ooh,
supervisor and kill
I
him.
like that.
And Jod is actually a good guy.
Make the wizard come out from behind the curtain.
That's what I was like. That's like my last hope for him to be good. Like thinking about that, but
Like I
like
said, he sparked the lightsaber, but there's no telling what he's actually gonna do with it.
I mean, when I will say when he knocked SM-33's dome off, that's when I was like, he's actually bad. Or he knows that SM-33 can't be alive for whatever he's about to do next. Like that's what I was like thinking. Like, and that's my last ditch ridiculous effort for him to be a good guy still in the end.
I think the people on Aten realize that they need to have the protection of the whatever it is, and they will remain ignorant to the outside world. I don't think they'll start a civil war. I think Aten knows that they've had it really good, or at least those in the know that they've had it really good, and they want to maintain that.
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with him remaining bad because I think Star Wars needs more solid bad guys. And I think if you look at it and we say, what are they going to do after Mando and Grogu, the movie? Well, we've got we got Thrawn coming back, so he's going to rebuild an empire kind of setting. What if Jod gets enough money to where he can really start up an entire pirate kind of setting? And now you've got plenty of stories going back and forth between regular everyday citizens, the empire, pirates, everything like that in the future. You've got multiple, and the Mandos. You know, you've got all these different groups that can coincide and interact.
Yeah, isn't it kind of a waste now for Gory and Shad to have died in Mando season 3 because I feel like he could have been a nice adversary for Jod and his pirate crew.
Yeah.
Is that Broccoli the Hut?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're holding out hope, D Doc, for one turn back to the light here. You know, I would think that maybe he'll get his pirate cohorts down to the planet and they'll start really causing some trouble. Maybe they'll have a little flashback to himself when he was a kid taken by pirates, and maybe he'll help the kids out one last time. I doubt it, but it could
Here's
be
where
okay.
here's where I go away from the traditional Star Wars fan, where Joe said all of these connections. I don't think this needs to be connected to all of those other stories, and you can have stories. You can just have one-offs that aren't connected, and like
Right now, this story is that. You are correct. This story is completely its
right,
own single
right.
standing thing.
So,
I'm just
and
thinking for the business side of the franchise. I'm not worried about. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
but at the same time, there are enough people. Well, there's enough Star Wars hardcoreists, not enough the general population, to pull in um, the level of interest that they were hoping to get. But I
and
think
I'm
it,
not.
you could,
I'm not saying we're getting good ratings on this. Are we?
no. What I'm getting at is like for the nature of the business and what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
just think that doesn't. I don't think you need to have all of the connectivity that all Star Wars fans wanted to have. I guess is where I'm coming from. Like, you don't have to have the Thrawn story brought into it. You don't have to have the Mando story brought into it. It'd be awesome. It is kind of criminal that that Grogu's not on the screen with Neil, but I don't think it needs it. I don't think you need it.
No.
I could
No.
see at least the New Republic showing up at the end because you've already established that
They're
Kim
there,
has knows how to call them, and she told KB to call her if they were in trouble.
and they
So
were
I could
flying around shooting on
right.
the resort planet. They were flying around shooting up Jod's starfighter.
Yep.
I like this idea of wild things happening in the outer rim, and it doesn't necessarily have too big of implications on the main story. Um, I think the main story at this time isn't very good, so I'd like to supplement it with other things.
Yeah.
And if these kids, show up in the Mando Filoni finale, okay, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, that would work for me. And I mean, it's like it's funny to me because it's always the thing that like people always say like you don't need Jedi or lightsabers or whatever and blah blah blah. It's like to me this show is the perfect example of how you can write a new story where it doesn't have anything to do with that stuff, but right as we're getting to the end here, when that lightsaber's sparked and when there is Force stuff involved, it makes it that much better. It really does. And that lightsaber looks good on screen.
It
Yeah.
definitely did not look like a tube.
When
Yeah.
he was sitting there and like which is funny because it's like I said that it's like the picture I used, it kind of does look a little bit like it in the thumbnail I used for tonight. But when he was holding it and moving it around, it had that like old school lightsaber on screen like vibration look to it, where it's not perfect. You know what I mean? It really looked like a Star Wars lightsaber, which like I think the guys who wrote this show care about that kind of stuff. Like they want it to look good. The fact that they did a mocap freaking crab for the Bryce Dallas Howard episode, like, did you see the stuff that she was saying? You guys shared it, right? Of what Bryce Dallas Howard was saying about working with Jude Law, how great he was,
World class.
world
World
class.
class.
I think that's higher than A list.
Okay, so I want to go through and clarify. When you say A list, that means you're going to pull eyes. You're going to pull people in.
He is
Has
not.
he,
It is not.
has he done that? That doesn't mean that he's not a solid actor. That just doesn't like he's not a draw. Like there are very few at this point that are draws. Chris Pratt, I would say at this point, Star Killer, or not Star Killer, yeah, Star Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Pratt has pulls people in at the moment. Like there are certain Dwayne Rock Johnson will pull people in. Like there are certain people that when you say their names attached to it, people will go watch it. At this moment, Jude Law isn't that level. That's when I hear A-listers. At no point in my damnation of A-listing did not mean that Jude Law was not a solid world-class actor.
I know.
It was the fact that he is not a draw.
We need Tom Hanks in Star Wars. He's an A-lister.
Those actors are in movies that bomb all the time.
I know.
They are, but they still come back. People still go back and watch them.
And they come back and those movies bomb.
But there's always the good one.
I just don't want Jod to die in the 8th episode because, like I'm saying, I have this weird hope that he is somehow good, but also, like Joe said, he's really good at being bad. And if he is just going to be bad, I want him to stay alive for a while in Star Wars.
It's like Moff Gideon. He's died twice now, or 3 times actually. So, but you still want him to come back because he's a great villain.
Yeah. And it's like I'm scrolling IMDb and it's like I'm scrolling IMDb. We got Dr. Squatch. He just finished the episode. All right, I just finished. Jod may be too far gone. He may be.
No one's ever really gone.
What's nice is like IMDb, there's only one episode below a 7 rating on IMDb, and it's the one where they went to the at Akin.
Akin.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like every episode is like above an 8 or like very close to an 8, and a lot of these with like 4,000 reviews on them, which like I've seen a lot of modern Star Wars shows get crushed on IMDb because I like IMDb because it's more of like the viewer who's giving these ratings and reviews on that website compared to Rotten Tomatoes. I'm actually a Rotten Tomatoes hater. But that's why I finally tweeted about this show last night and was like, people need to watch this. Like, I don't know why I haven't been doing it. Like, I haven't been tweeting about it or anything. I think it's because we've been lulled to sleep by a lot of the stuff that Disney Plus has put out with Star Wars. I mean, subconsciously, I've started putting thumbnails on our podcasts again because I'm excited about this show, and I think it helps the views on it. Really,
But it's just not. I don't think it's just Star Wars. I think it's just Disney Plus in
Yeah.
general.
yeah.
Hyperspace Heroes says John Knoll is the visual effects supervisor on this show. I think he meant big reason on why it looks good. I don't know. I don't think he meant big brain.
Big brain. I think it's big brain.
Big brain? I don't know.
Brain.
Yeah, I don't know. But if John Knoll's involved, John Knoll's been involved with tons of Star Wars stuff. So, right? Am I thinking of that correct? That's John Knoll, right? Wasn't he involved with Rogue One?
Yeah, he had the idea for Rogue One.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, look, I'm excited. I can honestly say this has been something I have enjoyed. I'm doing the full Brent Dykman here. I am enjoying this show. I'm not putting the expectations on. When the episodes show up, I just turn them on, watch them. I have no idea what's coming. I'm not getting scoops. I'm not looking into what's going to happen, what people are rumoring. I just wait till 9 o'clock. Boom, hit the play and go, and then I start sending you guys messages either through it or after the show's over. So I'm enjoying it. I think Star Wars, and it doesn't have to be just like this. You don't have to cookie cut it, but write a fun story, write an interesting story, put some good characters in it. I'll keep watching it till Kingdom Comes. I mean, this is a solid show, solid acting performances. It's got good visuals. And it's got a little fun with it as well. So I'm enjoying it. I don't want it to end actually because I'm enjoying it so much. I don't want this to be the last episode next week. So that's all I've got on it.
Are we doing closing thoughts now?
Yeah, you shutting us down?
Yes. Some of us have to work in the morning, especially sick Brent.
Well, you didn't say the closing thoughts line. That's why I was like, oh damn, we're at 140, which Joe is usually at like 126. He's
I know, right?
hitting the
Trying
closing
to.
thoughts.
He's trying to.
Well, and Dr. Squatch is giving some of his closing thoughts right there. Pop him up there.
I think I think we've been oversaturated with it. This is a very fun show. I enjoy watching it. Hopefully, it can stick the landing. We'll see. We will see. I'd like to. Obviously, you want to know what's going on with the supervisor. You also want to know what's going on with the school gun that Neil knows about. So, is there a potential that the more pirates invading and finding a way through? What's all of that got going on, right?
So I want to see like the Vietnam flashback style memes of Neil shooting that freaking turret, like of the pirates coming into that plane.
Fortunate Son playing in the background.
Yes.
I got this.
Tattoo. He's got a tattoo on his arm.
What is it? What's
his the flopping from shooting the turret?
What's the Apocalypse Now?
Rise of the Valkyries.
Yeah,
Rise of the Valkyries.
Holy cow!
All right, Aviak, thanks for sticking around with us this
man.
episode. Pretty much appreciate it, man.
Yes, thank you.
My final thoughts is I need to ask because Brent was talking about it earlier. Have any of you guys ever seen the movie Rocket Man with Harlan Williams? Comedy back in the day.
No,
it's when they go to Mars. Harlan Williams, are you familiar with that comedian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's the one that wants to have 6-minute abs.
Yes,
from Something About Mary.
Oh yeah, no, I've never watched that
movie.
Instead
of 7-minute abs.
Stupid.
Either way, it's funny because Brent was talking about force usage, and in that movie, they have a Mars rover, and it's on top of someone, and he's trying to lift it off of him, and he's like, "I need you to call me Papa to lift the rover off of him." I'm telling you, that movie is like one of my favorite childhood movies. That every time I ask people if they've seen it, no one has seen it. Rocket Man with Harlan Williams.
All right.
It's hilarious. I'm telling you, that movie is great. They go into
it's a generational thing.
Yes, they go into like hyperbaric chambers to travel to Mars, and his doesn't seal when they go, and he's awake for 6 months while they're going to Mars. And
Oh gosh.
yeah, very good movie. I'm enjoying Skeleton Crew. I can't wait to see what this 8th episode brings. It's going to be a fun podcast after that one.
Book, how about you?
I love this series. I'm just as excited every Tuesday as I have been for Mando. I think it's right up there in terms of quality. It's a lot of fun. It looks great. It sounds great. The writing is great. The characters are really good. I keep saying it. I think it's a testament to putting people in place who have experience in making quality movies.
Yeah.
And I really hope that this opens some people's eyes at Lucasfilm and they kind of follow this formula a little bit more. I hate that. I can't say that I really hate it because maybe it's a nice swan song to Disney Plus. We get this in a really great Andor season 2, and Disney Plus. See you later. It was fun, but it wasn't great.
Do you think it's going to die? Is there rumors it's going to die?
I don't know that it's going to die. Eventually it's going to die. It can't be cost effective. And if you really cut back on the budgets of these series,
then it's not worth watching.
no, it's not. I'm sorry if you like Marvel. I really am, but all the large percentage of the Marvel series were forgettable. Uh, most of the Star Wars series outside of Mando, a few scenes are great, but most of it is really forgettable. It's not good. It
Alfie,
hasn't been overall great content.
did you see what Dr. Squatch said for you?
Yeah, this is perfect while Alfie's wrapping it up.
Yeah. Last Christmas. You'll forever associate Amelia Clark with Last Christmas.
Oh crap!
I'm sure it's a great film. I've probably seen it a few times. Christmas movies are not my favorite. I know I'm a terrible person. I'm sorry. They're just not my thing.
You're not a terrible person. You're
I don't
not.
know. I hate that Disney Plus has ended up this way. It was so good for so long, but without Mando consistently coming out, I don't see it being around for much longer.
Dr. Squatch, that's because the first time Joe mentioned Amelia Clark as knowing her from Last Christmas, Alfie's reaction was unbelievable.
So disappointing.
Sweet summer child.
Quintessential Amelia Clark.
I mean, we're a Star Wars podcast, and you didn't even say like the Solo movie. You said Last Christmas.
I'm Dr. Squatch. That is the title of this show. Is a quintessential Amelia Clark. Thank you for sharing that. That's all I got, guys. I appreciate you guys putting in a couple hours with it. I'm sure we're going to do the same thing next week. So, you guys got anything else before we go? I will have my surprise by next week. So hopefully be ready to go for the finale.
Order that Captain America shield, Joe.
I'm working on that right now. I'm checking it out and doing some reading on it. So, guys, thank you so much. I love seeing D-Doc, Brent, Alfie. Love seeing you guys. Love for you guys being a part of the show and putting all the work in on all this. And for everybody who's listening, following, thank you so much. We had some great comments today in the section. We really appreciate that. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Rule the Galaxy. If you need anything, rulethegalaxysw@gmail.com. And until next week,